everybody. My name is Aditi Galande, and I'm a senior at Arizona State University in the Barrett Honors College. And part of graduating with the Honors College, we have to create a thesis. And I decided to create this space, hence this podcast, where I could learn from others and find a mentor because growing up, I was the eldest in my family, and so a lot of the times I had to find my own resources and just figure out life. And so in this two-part podcast for my thesis, the first guest I will be having is someone that is incredibly influential in the past few years of my life, and his name is Albert Bui.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You didn't have much choice considering you're my boyfriend.
We also do live together, so it wasn't very hard travel to get here.
No, in the past 4 years that I've met you, you have taught me so much. So tell everyone a little bit about your background. Tell me about yourself.
I would say background, I'm 26 years old as of recent, graduate of ASU as well, go Devils. Graduated from WP Carey with a degree in supply chain management. Used that for, I'd say only 2 years. And then I jumped off the ship and trying working my way to escape the rat race.
Yeah, I've seen you go from corporate to being an entrepreneur. And as someone that is graduating in a couple of months, actually,
Woo!
It is kind of terrifying to be at that finish line and realize that you don't have a crutch of college anymore. When you were about to graduate, how did you navigate that? What were your thoughts?
You know, I think my thoughts were just following along what I think my parents wanted for me, mom and dad wanted for me all along. It's just, you know, they gave up everything to get to America, so they wanted me to graduate from college, climb the corporate ladder, and just live the American dream that was pitched to them when they were growing up in Vietnam. So, you know, it wasn't really anything special, I would say. And as weird as that sounds, I know some people make a huge deal about, you know, oh, graduating college. But for me, it just wasn't, I didn't feel like anything. I just felt like, you know, it's time to move on to the next step. I didn't feel like I really accomplished anything other than, hey, I showed up consistently for 4 years. Here's my degree. And now I just move on.
Yeah, that's funny you bring that up because in high school, it seems like that too. There are so many families that are so excited about their kids graduating from high school. But for me, my parents came here from India. And so for them, it was the same thing. High school was like, oh, you're going to graduate from college and I want to go to medical school. So for me, it's like I'm graduating from medical school. So graduating from college just seems like that stepping stone.
Yeah.
Is there something though that you now 4 years post graduating that you know now that you wish you knew when you were in the last semester?
It's not necessary to go to college to succeed. As much as it's preached, you know, all the way up through grade school, elementary school, high school, and all that stuff, like, oh, prepare for college, get ready to go to college, all that stuff. It's really not necessary, especially in today's society and how we live and the information that we are able to access and learn from, or at least I should say the people that we have the access to learn from. You really don't need to go to college to make a good living for yourself or build something great to, you know, go after what you want in life. Like, you don't really need that piece of paper. Because I still have my degree. It's still sealed in the same envelope that ASU mailed it in. Never opened it.
I'm sure I'm going to open my diploma before you do.
You know, on your career path, I think you're supposed to like hang your credentials up or whatever. But if you hang your credentials up in the house, I will take my envelope and hang it right next to you, framed and everything, with the whole shebang, just to show the contrast.
Well, like for me, you say that you don't really need a college degree anymore, right, to succeed. And I agree with you. But in certain fields like medicine, you do need that, right?
I would think so.
For those that are not really into becoming a doctor or something that does need a degree, how did you develop your skills and knowledge in that area? How did you develop the skills that you have now?
Just trial by fire. YouTube University, and just take action and learn as you go. You know, there's no structure for what I'm doing, and um, what I'm trying to achieve. Like there's no, oh, I hit this milestone and suddenly I get a promotion. I stick in it. I don't know. Next year, here's my bonus. There's no structure like that for what I'm doing. And I guess I never really elaborated what I'm doing. I'm currently a restaurant owner, former real estate investor slash home flipper. So there's really, mind you, for everyone out there, I'm 26 and I managed to do all this in the last 4 years. 4 years that I've known Aditi, and really when I started all this, there is no structure. You kind of just do it. I mean, how many times were you with me? And, I just kind of figured it out, and you just kind of watch me tinker with it and see how it comes out.
That's something that I inspire to be like, because for me, I need that structure. I need that routine. But then how do you motivate yourself if you don't have that routine, that structure?
I wouldn't say it's motivation. It's just discipline. I don't like the culture of what do you call it? Like you got to be motivated to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't know. I'm just not a guy about like motivation. Every single day there's something that goes wrong where I would not want to do it. Like every day, do you think I want to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go to the gym? No. I just do it because I have to. It's what I do. I think motivation's overrated. I think discipline's a skill that's underrated and underplayed to where people aren't really giving it enough credit because it's truly what propels you. Motivation's the sexy thing. It's the get up at 5:30 a.m., get your dreams, chase your dreams, let's do it. Discipline is the I don't want to do this today, but I'm going to do it anyway. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah, it's the action. You're actually putting in the work to get where you want to be. I know for me, I don't like waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym either, especially when it's raining or freezing cold. But it's that consistency to build that discipline. So to build that discipline, I know that creating those healthy habits at such a young age is so beneficial, because these years in your 20s especially is so crucial to your development that you're going to carry on for the rest of your life. That's going to shape how you might be in the future. So Are there any success habits that you found that were helpful that you're currently doing?
It's always been the gym for me because that's something that I can control. I can control the weights. I can control my actions to take to it. So it's something that's very beneficial to me. In the morning, it's before the world gets up, traffic's dead. And you know it too, because you go with me. It's super peaceful to just be alone with your thoughts and throw on a podcast and just lift heavy weights. I found that to be very beneficial to just clear the mind, start the day, get the blood going, and really put you back in control in the driver's seat. Because in today's world, you really think that you have no control over anything, but truly you have control over everything. You just need to be reminded of it.
With all of these different career changes, you're 26 right now. I know that you are planning on expanding your restaurant. You have all these big plans. But at this point in life, do you consider yourself successful?
Not a chance. I haven't achieved my definition of success yet. And, when I do achieve it, I don't know if I will consider it, success. For a person who is truly successful, and I've started to develop that mindset, is when you reach that goal, it's never enough. The goal line just keeps moving. It keeps going further and further and further. It's kind of like a little kid. You want to like push the boundaries a little bit. And then once that little kid pushes the boundaries a little bit, and like it's okay, he'll keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. That's kind of the same thing, I feel like, with entrepreneurship and building your own business. And if you're truly a spearheaded individual, when you achieve that goal that you set out, even if it's a massive, massive goal, you're going to want more, because that's just the natural drive that you built to get there. You don't just stop when you get there.
Yeah.
You just keep going and going and going. And that's why we have these, 1% of the 1% that everyone seems to be upset about. But I'm like, that's just the mindset that you're in. Once you build something that big, that's just who you are. You just keep building and building and building. It's not about the money anymore. It's just the feeling of achievement that we're kind of all chasing. Problem solving.
I don't think, though, that everyone has that in them, right? It's not like you
No.
are born and then you think that you're just going to keep on achieving. You want to be ultra successful. I mean, everyone wants to be rich, but not everyone becomes rich. I wholeheartedly believe that the people that you surround yourself with play a huge part in your success and your mindset.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the people that you surround yourself with are the people is who you become, because their expectations of you is who you become. So if you're surrounded, you know, for an example, if you surround yourself with a bunch of people that expect you to go out, expect you to do this, expect you to be, good the next day after a hard night of partying, then that's all you're gonna ever be. But if you're around people that expect you to be a multi-millionaire, be a business leader, be a community leader, that's who you're gonna become, because you start trying to live up to their expectations, aka the reflection that they see in you that you just have yet to see.
That's something that I've been struggling. I honestly still continue to struggle. Now that I'm a senior, I look back at my freshman year and I see the friend group that I was with and look at where they're now. And I realize that just because you know someone for so long, that doesn't mean that they should still be in your life.
Right. I mean, I have no loyalties to, it's going to sound harsh, but if I've known you for 10 years, or if you're a blood related family, there's a hard cutoff line for me, even if you're going to be in the way of me chasing my own dreams and ambitions, because I have no loyalties to that. Just because you've known someone for a long time, that doesn't earn anything in my book of relationships. Just because I've known a friend for 10 years, that doesn't mean anything, because those 10 years could have been miserable, where that friend could have been leeching off me for 10 years. And then when I make it and they hold their hand out like, yo, man, I've known you for 10 years. Like, come on. It's like, no, you've been sucking away all my energy and money and time for the entire 10 years. It doesn't matter. I'd much rather give it to the person I met 6 months ago that pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And that was the huge driving factor to achieve that whatever level of success that I happened to achieve at that time. There's no loyalties just that. And I have friends right now that I went to college with. They've all gone on to do their jobs and whatnot. They're making way more money than I am right now, but I'm playing the long game. I'm trying to get out of the rat race. And no offense to them if that's what they want to do, which is fine, but this is what I choose to do, and I just have a different vision for what I want to get out of life.
In my career, in my even major, there's so many competitive people. And so I know in your real estate meetups and all of your friends and things like that, there was this huge push for collaboration over competition. But in my experience, it's always been competition over collaboration. And so with the friends that I was with, it was always just pushing each other, trying to beat out everyone else to be at the top. And that's how we became successful. So like for me, success was defined as, how can I be better than everyone else? But now as I look back, it's more so like, how can I be better than who I was yesterday?
Right. And I think now that I look back at my real estate days, that yes, we do have to collaborate and work together to get things done. But at the end of the day, it's a whole competition. It's a lions, not sheep mentality, where if you're not the predator, you're the prey. And it's not that, one has it. In this world, we have winners and losers. You either win or you lose. And there's only one. There's no middle ground. So it's not like I want to push someone off the cliff or, smash someone off a ladder to keep going forward. It's just, I'm just going to overtake you. That's it. It's a competitive world out there. And I think that's one of the biggest things that society today is kind of pushing. Like, we all have to live in the same playing field, all this. And I'm just not about that, because if I work 10 times harder than someone else, they don't get my results. I get my results that I earned, and that person who puts in no effort gets their results that they earned, not what I work 10 times harder than them to earn. So it is a competitive world. So I think even in your medical career and how you have to go up, it's supposed to be competitive. You're supposed to want to win. You're supposed to want to beat that other person. In your head, you're probably thinking like, I want to beat this person on the ground just like to win. But realistically, you're gonna do it ethically, to where you just outperform them, not by doing anything shady, not by doing unethical, by, ripping them off the rung of the ladder, but you're just going to be better. That's it.
Society as a whole has shifted towards this mentality where everyone deserves a participatory ribbon. And I think that idea is great and all, but it teaches this generation that it doesn't matter how hard you try. Everyone is still on that same playing field.
I mean, why would you try? If you knew, let's say in your medical career, right? If you knew that you put in minimal effort, but you will still land at that same doctor level that everyone else is playing on, why would you put in more effort if you know for a fact that the system is going to make you land right there all the time anyway? Why would you try? Like, it doesn't make sense for human nature. We're lazy as human beings. Like, that's just innate in us to do it the shortest way possible. So if the system is rigged to where everyone gets to be at that same level anyway, then why would you try to put in more effort? You know what I mean?
Being the best doctor you possibly can not only benefits you, benefits other people, but it also pushes other doctors to be better than you. Right?
Well, that's capitalism. That's how we innovated everything else. It's someone wanted to be better and something great came of it. Someone learned to solve a problem better. And that's why, capitalism works.
And technology gets better. I think that parents should really put an emphasis on competition at such an early age, because for me, my drive for competition was through dance. I competed in different performances, different competitions. And so for me, it was like, how can I be the star of the show at such a young age? My ego, I guess, at 10 years old.
It's not an ego. It's what's built in us. We have a drive for competition. When you're a kid, what do they do when you make the basket? When you have your little toy basket and then you shoot the hoop?
Everyone cheers for you.
Everyone cheers for you, but they cheer themselves. When you put the shape in the right shape hole and it goes in, what do? They celebrate. It's competition. We all have it built into our DNA. We're supposed to be competitive. But then society's teaching us to suppress that, and competition's bad, and you're supposed to help everyone out and bring them up, and no one should have more than the other, even though they work 100 times harder.
So then when you and I were both trying to be better versions of ourselves than we were yesterday, right? And so many people out there are too. But when people look at that, there are so many people that try to bring you down. So at your position, you've gone through so many different life changes, so many different careers in your life, right? And I will say that you have achieved some success. Not the success that you might be looking for, but you have achieved something, right, at 26. So are there people that have tried to take advantage of it?
Yes.
How do you deal with it?
There are lessons learned on the journey up. It's you can learn all you want from YouTube videos, textbooks, whatever, but until you actually do it, you can never figure out how to best respond to it or how you would best respond to a situation until it happens to you. And of course, hindsight's 20/20. When it's happening to you, you don't see it. But when you look back, you're like, oh, how did I miss this? How did I figure this out? You know what I mean? Like, they're expensive lessons to learn, but that's the price that I have to pay and others have to pay on the road of trying to escape the rat race. If you make a mistake, in a career, yeah, you might get some reprimand from your boss. The company might lose money and blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, you still walk home with a paycheck at the end of the day. You might have some disciplinary actions here and there, maybe a demotion, whatever. But, things move on. My mistake is that could cost me everything. That could cost me my business, my cars, my house, any property, any assets that I have that I own. That is up for grabs because mistakes, as much as I want, they're not free. Someone has to pay for it one way or another. And, luckily, the mistake that I made after I exited my real estate career only cost me $20,000 as a whole, for the whole year. Truthfully, it was a $200,000 lesson, but I was smart enough to where the gains had offset the losses, and technically the lesson cost me $20,000, but you know, what are you going to do? You live and you
Lesson
learn.
learned. I mean, you're at such a young age where, yeah, it's kind of hard to bounce back from it, but you will bounce back.
I mean, I do bounce back. I think about it this way, you know, I lost enough money to where a lot of people wish they could make in 5 years. And I was able to lose, you know, $200,000. And, you know, I'm okay. You know, it sucks, don't get me wrong, but I've learned to flow with money and learn to be able to be okay with it leaving me, be okay with it coming back to me. Because at the end of the day, I control the money. The money does not control me. I can generate a bigger net to be able to capture more money, but if that money escapes through the holes and the cracks, I am not going to stress about it, you know, because I know it's going to come back around. I'll be able to recapture it again.
There are times where I look at my goal and I just feel like quitting.
I mean, I feel like quitting every other day, so you're in the right boat. If you feel like quitting, I think you're on the right path. You pick something hard. If things were comfortable, then, you know, that's why everyone's where they are. And the people who are living the life that people retweet about are where they are. They decided to choose the hard path. And that's usually where the most success is found, because when you pick the harder path, you're solving the harder problem. And when you solve the harder problem, you're rewarded more handsomely than if you were to solve the minimal problem. So I think if you're, you know, you're stressing about it, it's good. It's a signal, it's a signal or a marker, if you will, that yeah, you're on the right path. You're on the harder path. That it's gonna lead you to the dreams and the success of what you define as successful, because it's not everyone will travel through it, you know. And that's why some people just, like for an example, going to the gym, make it super easy, right? We think that is, some days are hard tasks, some days are really easy to just go, some days we just want to go, and we just go every day regardless of how we feel. But for other people, it's a hard thing to do, because they let their mind change the fact that, oh, I can go tomorrow, I can make excuses, I can do this, I can do that. And then they complain that they're overweight, they're not looking like the person that has gone every single day consistently for years, and suddenly they're wanting to complain about, you know, oh, you know, you're too shredded for me, you're too fit for me, you know, it's bringing me down. But yet someone else picked the harder path to get to that point. Of course, this is a very, I think, dumbed down example, but if you apply it to even just a career where you're not an entrepreneur, but you're an intrapreneur, you're working within a company and a structure, but you have that entrepreneurial mindset. If you pick the harder path within that company, you're most likely going to be rewarded with promotions or better pay, because you're the one going out of your way to solve the harder problems, where most of your colleagues are just going to say, no, not my job, not my problem.
It's very easy for people to say that the ones that are not sleeping, they're working hard, they're not seeing their family for hours of the day, to say that, oh, their life is terrible, or oh, they're doing something wrong when they're sitting comfy working their 9 to 5. But when you are trying to push past that boundary, try to be uncomfortable, there are going to be so many moments in your life where you're going to want to quit. You're going to feel like a failure. You're going to get so many hard no's. I know I just had one of the hardest no's in my entire life just last month when I didn't get an interview for one of the programs that I applied to. I got rejected. And so that was a huge wake up call for me. And so it's just, how do you overcome those challenges when you are becoming uncomfortable, pushing yourself to the limit every single day? How do you keep on going?
You just got to keep the vision in mind.
How do you keep that vision though?
You just keep the vision.
Have a vision board.
There's no, I mean, yeah, you have a vision board and you think about it every day of what you want your life to be like. you envision it, you feel it. That's why we always went to open houses. We always went to open houses when, we're doing my real estate flipping career. When I was flipping houses, we would go to multi-million-dollar houses because that's what I was working towards. And I'm still working towards that for us. But you want to see the vision. And sometimes it helps to just see these 6-figure cars and see these 7-figure homes that are just, top-notch luxury, because that's what you're achieving. And if you don't keep the vision fresh in your head, then you don't have a goal or a benchmark to aim at. And if you have nothing to aim at, you're kind of just wandering through life aimlessly without any type of direction or intent to get there. So while you may get the rejection, to overcome the challenges, you just got to trust the process, that if you keep working, you keep getting up, and you keep going, you're going to achieve the results that you want, because you keep doing the things that you're supposed to. You keep showing up, you keep working, you keep studying, you adjust the plans as you go, but then you keep the vision of what you want your life to look like every single day, and it's going to happen. You keep acting towards it, it's going to happen.
I didn't really understand the power of manifestation or even just visualizing until quite recently when I was reading a book. I just changed my lock screen to a car that I want. It's like $120,000 car. It's the RSQ8. And I have the interior of it as my lock screen. And it's just a reminder that, hey, my life is nowhere where I want to be right now. And so it's just seeing that every day, as soon as I touch my phone, it's just a constant reminder.
But how did you know that car exists in the first place? How did you know what that feeling was to be in that car?
I didn't even know that existed, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a car girl at all. And you introduced me a little bit, but it wasn't like you told me about the RSQ8, right?
Yeah.
Or you told me about the Urus or anything. There's so much that I didn't know. And so it wasn't until I started getting uncomfortable. It wasn't until I started going to car shows with you, learning about cars, talking to guys and girls about their cars, and being the stupidest person in the room.
There you go. That's what you want to be.
Yeah, a little fish in a big pond, right? Yeah. You have so much to learn, and there's so much out there that you don't even know is there.
But see, you don't know what you don't know, and you did not know what it felt like to be behind the driver's seat of that car until you walked into that dealership with me and you found that car, and you're like, whoa, this is a whole different feeling. And us as humans, we don't forget the feeling. We don't forget feelings and emotions. That's the thing that sticks to us. Yeah, we can remember like numbers and all that stuff, but we will never forget how we felt when we do that. So now that you feel what it's like to be in that car and know what it's like touching the wheel and hearing the engine and hearing what that sounds like, now you know what that aims at. Now you know where to put your needle at. And that's the whole important thing about manifestation and visualizations that I've recently been trying to get better at and sharpening my blade, because it's real. There's a whole different feeling when you experience something that you just want to keep reminding yourself so you can go back to that feeling again. As we as humans have the huge power to attract it, the law of attraction, right? You have a huge power to bring what you want in your head. If you can imagine it, you can pluck it from in your head and plop it into reality. It's just a matter of being able to comprehend that. You know what I mean? Like all these news articles, for an example, that they highlight these celebrity spends of I would just say their daily lives, right? Recent article, I guess, I was just reading Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous soccer player. Apparently, he's been spending $250,000 a month in hotel fees to house himself and his family and his security.
Oh, wow.
See, and while that seems like a lot, in my head, I'm thinking, that's not a lot of money. Considering how much this man makes, $250,000 is a drop in the bucket to house his security team and everything. But a lot of people just can't fathom that. And that's why that article is so mind-blowing to everybody, because they're like, dang, he's spending $250,000 a month. But if you put that all together, it's perspective. The man makes over $500 million, maybe more. I don't know how much this man is making. All I know, he's a very, very, very talented soccer player. From everything that I know about him, just as an entrepreneur, and I've seen his his watch collection, because it is a very, very nice watch collection worth hundreds of millions. But you put that into perspective, you know, a lot of people can't fathom spending, you know, $250,000 a month. But if you can think about that and think about that type of spend and imagine the type of money that you can make to make that amount seem insignificant to your overall earnings, then you can achieve it. But if people are still constantly thinking like, that's a lot of money, they'll never achieve it because they think that it's just so out of reach that, you know, that's not the life for them. That no way can they achieve that money. Meanwhile, you have so many tools these days that you can truly achieve it if you just put the work in.
It's shifting your mindset, right? You don't know what you don't know. It's like the huge ocean. There's so much of the ocean that we don't know. Once you start carving at it, that's when you get that full picture. Like going back to the car example, I wanted a Mercedes GLE 63.
Yeah, we thought it was a nice car. I thought it was a nice car too.
It was a nice car, but it wasn't until I saw another car, and then I saw another car, and I saw another car, that I finally sat in the RSQA and revved that puppy up. I'm sure that's the cars guy was probably mad that I revved that up.
Whatever. He gave you the driver's seat, so do what you want.
He gave me the keys. But it wasn't until I kept on pushing myself.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, in my college career so far, I have been taking about 23, 24 credits each semester. And when I tell my friends that, oh my God, the shock on their faces. They cannot believe that I'm taking so many. But then when you shift your perspective, it's like, it's not that bad.
No.
It's because they haven't done it. They haven't tried it.
Right.
And of course, you're not going to get it right the first time. I didn't get a 4.0 the first time I took 23 credits. I failed.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I didn't get an F. Okay, I didn't fail my classes.
Yeah.
But it isn't until you push yourself that you realize, oh, this is my point where I'm uncomfortable, and then you push it even farther.
Right. I mean, Robert Herjavec, you know, says, find the breaking point as fast as you can, fix it, find it again. So it's you got to keep pushing the boundaries to where what's the weakest link that's going to fail first, find it quickly so it's less expensive, fix that, and then move on and push it again, see what else breaks, fix that, and keep going. And that's the crazy drive that people who are trying to get out of the rat race and have been out of the rat race are trying to achieve. It's always trying to find the weakest link to break, fixing it, and seeing how much more you can push. And that's why there's people that have crazy amounts of spend each month that, you know, top easily over $500,000 because they solve big problems, or their skill sets are very particular that they are paid handsomely for what they do or the services that they provide. And that's just the lifestyle that comes with it. You know, you have now access to do what you want. And sometimes, you know, other things you have to pay for, your essentials get more expensive. Like you and me, we're not famous or anything, so we don't really worry too much about security. But for a athlete or an actor, you know, they can't fly commercial. They're going to get swamped every day. They now have to fly private. And now they have to have a security team on them at all times. And, you know, that's just the push, I would imagine, for them to also keep going, because now it's their way of life. If they can't keep pushing the boundaries, they can't afford their way of life anymore. So then that's almost game over for them. So now that the benchmark has kept going up and up and up, the bottom tier, I guess I would say, it keeps shifting as well. So now you just keep getting better and better and better. There's no getting worse anymore. You've built the foundation. You just keep going up. It's
sort of hard to wrap around this idea because I have been so comfortable my entire life. I never really had to study for the ACT, SAT, you know, things I wouldn't say came naturally, but I didn't have to put as much effort as some of my other peers. So I'm trying to develop this habit where I take one small thing and I push myself. But it's not just like once a week. It's every single day. I've built this habit where I go and do my reps at the gym till failure. And so it's not just in my head. I'm not just counting, oh, I have to do these 12 reps. Oh, I have to do for a minute. I just keep on going till my body can't take it anymore. And I realized when I used to do 12 reps or whatever it was, I still had more in the tank in me. And so it's just this habit of pushing yourself and pushing yourself more because you don't realize what you can achieve until you do it.
Right. I mean, it's a slow progression, right? Those people that set these crazy goals and then do it for like a day and then fail, they didn't build the foundation that it took to withstand that amount of stress that comes with that level of winning and achievement. So if you push like that, little by little, you're building the foundation. Like you know what to expect. You know the pain that you're supposed to feel. And as you train a little more, you start building your mind up like, oh, I know this is like level 7 pain. I can keep going to level 9 pain, right? But if you do that every single day, like if you just went balls to the wall like that on the first time you started training with me, you probably would have never gone back because your body would have hurt so bad that you're like, nope, this is not for me. And that was just too much stress on your body all at once. So now that you have this progression and this foundation that you're building little by little, you start building this foundation that you can start stacking more and more on. And that's where I think there's a lot of mistakes that some people make is they go too hard too fast to where their foundation can't take it. It stresses and then fractures and it just crumbles to the ground. Just they didn't build the right skills to withstand that stress. They didn't prepare their mind right. They didn't prepare their body right to withstand the stress and everything that comes with achieving at a high level. Because it ain't easy. I'll tell you right now, like my 9 to 5 was awesome because as soon as 5 o'clock hits, I didn't care what the heck happened.
Clock out.
Of course I cared about it. I had logged in my emails, I would do extra stuff, but that's just my nature. But at the end of the day, I knew if I didn't answer this email, I could go on the rest of the day. I'll be just fine. I still get my $1,500 at the end of the week or whatever I got paid. And now it's just 24/7. There's no clocking out anymore. I'm always on the clock now. I'm always trying to build. I'm always thinking. And it's not just about the business either. It's about my mindset, my physical body set too. I'm always trying to see how I'm thinking about my everyday tasks. I'm always trying to see how I'm thinking about things, how I'm doing my sets. How do I make it better? How do I keep my mind from rotting away through social media and just keeping it sharp so I can execute on a high level? Because that's what high achievers do.
I think society has cultivated this idea where you don't need discipline. Mm-hmm. You can be comfortable and still be quote unquote successful, right?
Yeah,
whatever that might look like.
Making $100,000 in a year is not hard whatsoever. And I don't know why people have that as such a huge benchmark because let me tell you, it is not hard to make $100,000 a year. I did it and I lost it all, which was crazy because I got there way faster than I thought. So now looking back and how expensive truly the world is, $100,000 really is not a lot of money. Like you said, you can be pretty comfortable and you get there. You literally just land there. So you can make a very comfortable living. And if you want more, you better achieve more than just being comfortable. Because true, let's break it down, right? You make $100,000 a year. 30% of that goes to taxes already, right? $70,000. Now, if you're statistically supposed to spend, let's say, rent, $2,000 a month, which is pretty much on the cheap side ish here. $24,000 goes to rent. What does that bring your salary down to now? What are we at? $46,000? Yeah. $46,000. Now you add on a car payment. Your car payment's $500 a month. What is that now? $6,000. What are we at now? $40,000. Okay. How about utilities and food and all that? Okay. Take away another $7,000, right? Now you're at $30-something thousand. Oh, let's say you want to go on a trip somewhere. Okay. Now you're at $25,000. And I haven't even gone into everything else that, life has to go on. Buying groceries, your bills, everything else that goes on. Yeah. Shopping. That dwindles down very, very quickly when you really think about it. And mind you, $2,000 to rent a place is very cheap these days. Like you're living on like a cheap level to find $2,000.
1 bedroom.
Yeah, it's expensive to live these days. So $100,000 doesn't get you very far in today's society. So if that's your benchmark, oh man, you're just trying to make it to the start line. That's my opinion. My goal is 100 million. If it's 100,000, shoot, I'm trying to make that a month. I'm not trying to make that in a year. I'm trying to make that in a month. It's expensive to live your life by design. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to retire by 30. I don't think people quite understand how expensive it takes to try to live your life by design. Things start getting very, very, very expensive very quickly.
And I wish more people, especially my age, were more equipped to do that. Because when I look at my friends, they shop like crazy. They eat out
Yeah.
all the time. And these are the people that are going to be working, that are going to be the next generation.
Right.
And so even when you look at Afterpay or things like that, it's building all
Yeah.
these bad habits in people.
Right.
And so it's
a business built on instant gratification.
yeah, and society can't run on that. That's not how capitalism works.
No.
It's not how life works. But we've been so conditioned for you to just click a button and you get things right away. You click a button and you get food in like 10, 15 minutes and you don't even have to go anywhere.
Nope.
So it's this idea of how do you surround yourself with people that want to keep on pushing and being more. Because for me, I was so sick and tired of being around the people that I was around because I was not getting anywhere. I had someone that was close to me tell me when TikTok first blew up, they told me, oh, you don't have TikTok? You're not going to be happy in life.
Sheesh.
I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why would one app based on entertainment, based on a gambling algorithm, make me happy?
Because it's a gambling algorithm.
Yeah, but I don't get money out of it. At least when I go to the casino,
Yeah.
I leave
There's a
with more
chance.
money than I came in with.
Fair enough.
I have good self-control.
This is true. This is true.
But it's that idea of building those little habits, that discipline, because everyone wants the instant gratification.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just read a page and know everything right away.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone wants to live the life of the rich and famous without doing the work of the rich and famous. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into it that nobody wants to do because it's just not sexy and they just want to get there. But the path to get there is very, very, very difficult. And the fact that this whole entire culture, you know, highlights, you know, owning your own business is so great. It's awesome. You get to be your own boss. You get to do all this. I'm like, no, it sucks. I haven't been paid in how long? You know, all the money is being sunk into the business in order to propel it to a whole new level. And if I can just delay the gratification out of it, you know, I can retain all the profits in the business and I can take it out later for a hockey stick exponential curve. So it's they just don't see, is what I told you. Like, they just don't see where it's going to go in life. Like, they haven't realized what it is because they're just going to spend all of it now. You're supposed to live while you're young, blah, blah, all this stuff. I'm like, no, this is your chance to get way ahead in life. And, you know, this is your head start. This is your one chance at a head start in life before you have kids, a house, responsibilities that will actually crush you if you're not able to keep up with it. So this is why I always push you to just hang around different people, you know, look at the older crowd, look at adults, you know, hang around those people. And sometimes you can hang around certain adults and people that, oh, this is definitely what I don't want in life. Like, that's a good indication, a good visualization of that's what I don't want. So, you know, inverse thinking, like, okay, if that's what I don't want, I just got to do what they're not doing, do the total opposite. And that'll achieve what, you know, those results are on the opposite end.
I think it's that idea of removing external distractions and just realizing what you're doing yourself to hinder your achievements. And I think that plays in part the people you have around you and mentors. Do you have any mentors that navigate you through life?
I would say I listen to great podcasts that keep me fresh and educated on different perspectives from high level achievers. I love listening to Andy Frisella's Real AF, Ed Milet's show, all his high level achiever guests, Alex Hormozzi's The Game. Very, very smart man about, you know, great, intelligent types of advice and just different perspectives when it's an interview style of what other high achievers go through and realizing that we're not alone. That's one way I do it. I'm trying to get better about reading a little more and learning. I was never a good reader to begin with as a kid, but if I don't work on the skill, I'll never get better at it. So I'm trying to read more personal development books to strengthen my mind, strengthen my mindset to be able to do more in life. And, truly the business partner that I have now, I consider my mentor just because everything that he's been able to achieve in such relatively a short period of time. But all it was is his zero options mentality of he has to do it. Otherwise, there's no food on the table for his family. It was literally a do or die type of moment. So, I really look up to those type of people that say something, and you may think like, he's just like dreaming in the ether, you know what I mean? Like he's just visualizing. And then like a week later it happens, and then you're like, whoa, they did do that. They made it happen. And now that I'm a part of the different types of networking groups, I became a member of the Audi clubs of Arizona. I'm really hoping to just network with more high level achievers to where I can be around those types of people and just feel their energy and their vibrations and see how, and just talk to them and learn from them, see what they did in life to get to where they did. Because that's the only way I'm going to learn. That's the type of circles that I want to hang around with. It's not the group of guys for happy hour on a Tuesday night. It's, I want to hang around with people who are generating, hundreds of millions of dollars every month. What does it take to achieve on that level? And what are you doing with your 24 hours in a day that I need to start doing to start moving the needle towards that number?
Yeah, shifting your perspective, how you can learn from them and implement what they've learned and what mistakes they've made. For me, I listened to a few of the podcasts you've said, but I try
Right.
to read a lot more books too. Are there any books that you would suggest? If there was one book that you would suggest someone to read that's just working on personal development and working on themselves, what would it be?
I would say if you really want to work on yourself and just get better, I would read How to Win Friends.
By Dale Carnegie.
Yeah. That is such a good book of what we need to do, even if you're not an entrepreneur, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's such a good book because we need sales in everything that we do. And it just teaches you how to interact with people better on a day-to-day basis in order to achieve the results that you're looking for. Because half the time that we communicate with people, it's just not we just don't communicate the right way. And just that book of How to Win Friends and Influence People, that really strengthens the skill set, I would say, that it takes, and you understand what it takes to be around people that are in way different positions in life that you are, but you know how to articulate your message in such a way that they want to have you around. I think that's more of a tactical book, I guess, not really a self-development mindset one. I have to read Relentless and Winning by Tim Grover. I keep hearing that it's such a huge, powerful mindset book, but I just got to get done with my book right now, and that's probably gonna be my next read.
Well, I appreciate so much information and advice you have shared with me and everyone listening. If there was one thing that you've learned so far, your 26 years of living,
Woo.
one piece of advice that you would give someone, either they're about to graduate, going through college, starting their new career, or they're 40 or 50 years old and they're trying to still be a better version of themselves, because learning and becoming better never stops, right? What would it be?
Keep your mind open. Always stay curious about the world. And always know that nothing in this world is absolutely impossible. If you want it, if you can dream it, if you can imagine it, you can definitely achieve it. Everything you have is right at your fingertips. So if you keep your mind open, you stay naturally curious, and you're always wanting to be a student of life, and you always want to learn more, keep your mind open, sharpen your skills, and you're humble enough to know that you're never going to be the best, but you keep working to be the best, and you keep working to learn towards learning from people that you consider the best, I think your life can change drastically. Because if I went from, corporate job making, what was my salary, like 47,000 a year or something, whatever. Then I jumped into real estate, no idea how to flip a house. Then suddenly flipped 12 houses later, generated hundreds of thousands of dollars, lost a couple $100,000, and now suddenly I'm a restaurateur. I have no business owning a restaurant, let alone a Mexican restaurant, but here I am. And the opportunity just came along because I just happened to not be afraid to get up to bat. And the more chances I was able to get up to bat, the more opportunities roll with you. And that's why I think it's so important to always stay naturally curious and just take these opportunities that come to you, because you never know where it's going to take you. Everything you want in life is achievable. It's just how much work are you willing to put in to make it happen. So if you keep your open mind, you keep going, that, if the path it doesn't feel right, just veer off of it and find out what happens. I think a lot of people would find their true self and their true happiness if they're willing and to take the risk to do that.
That's awesome. And it's so easy to say. And the main part of this whole thesis is to not just say it and read about it or listen to it from podcasts, but actually do it. And I see it from you, and you're such an inspiration to me to always just put in that work every single day, even when you don't want to do it.
It sucks.
It does suck.
I'm up at 7 a.m. I don't come home until like 8 or 9 o'clock, and I'm trying to spend time with you, and it's a hard life. So, people think it's all glory that you work 4 hours a day and suddenly you make $1 million. But it's like, no, you're working 20 hours a day. And you and I just got done with a festival where we
work like 13, 14 hours a day.
Easily. The last few hours were for us to sleep, and then we did it again. But that's hard work. That's what you got to do.
That's how you get better. You get some thick skin, and then you learn that, you can even do even more.
That's right.
But that's awesome. No, thank you for joining me today. I learned so much, and I know that there's so much more that I can learn and implement into my life to just become a better version of myself. Mm-hmm. There's so much that is out there that we can achieve and finally get that RSQ8.
That's right. That's what we're chasing for.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
This has been an awesome episode. I appreciate all of you guys for listening and being here with me today. Hopefully you learned something new and will implement it into your life to become better yourself. I'll see you guys at the next episode.